the Beis Hamikdash.
Recording in progress.
And we were discussing how could it be Bechlal that there should be the Elikus, how could the Eibster come down to the Beis Hamikdash? And to explain that, we brought the view of some Gedolei Yisrael that said it wasn't really that. First of all, it's only a ha'ara of Elikus. It's not the Muhus Elikus that comes down to the Beis Hamikdash, and it's not that it actually becomes enclosed in the Beis Hamikdash. It's just the Beis Hamikdash is a makim muchsher for Elikus. In a similar way to Nevuah, that it's only ha'ara of the Eibishter that comes down to the Navi, and that itself is not in a way that it's enclosed in the Seichel of the Navi, and that's similar to how Seichel passes through the fingers of the hand. When a person writes down an idea, it doesn't mean that the fingers are actually a keli for the Seichel. The moyach, the brain, is a keli for a Seichel. The fingers are only mukhshar, they're only an available channel for the idea to go through. The same thing the Beis Hamikdash, the same thing the mind of the Navi, is a vehicle, a ready place for Elikus to come through, and only ha'ara of Elikus. That is one view. So now the Rebbe is going to talk about on page test, line 23, the fifth page of the copies, that this is not true. So let's see it inside. But in truth, it's not that way. Also, the idea of nevuah is not only a ziva ara, it's not only a ray. Though the expression, the pasuk that we brought earlier, is that I will be likened. In other words, there will be something similar to me in the Nevi'im that they will possess of me. They won't get my own very being. It's only a dimyon, shezayiraka ora. It's only a ray. Like the Chazal state, kol ha-Nevi'im nitznabu b'koi. All the Nevi'im, except for Moshe Rabbeinu, said koi. Koi Amar Hashem. Koi means like this, similar to this. In other words, it's not the essence, it's something similar. And the expression of Kabbalah and Chassidus, this is called a non-luminous lens. In other words, like for example, a mirror that reflects back the image, but you don't see the image directly. Zeu in Yonah shel Sfiras HaMalchus, top of page Yud. Sfiras HaMalchus is an asklaria she'ena me'ira she'irak ha'ora. It's only a ray. Vafilu Shmuel HaNavi shayaroi shel Navim. Even Shmuel HaNavi, that's called by the Chazal, that is called the head of the Nevi'im, the most elevated of the Nevi'im. Why was he so much elevated? Because his nevuah came from the spheres of Netzach V'Hoid, higher than the spheres of Malchus, which is the level of Koyom Hashem. Therefore, he said that also the everlasting one of the Yidden will not say false, but he referred to the level of Netzach because that was where his nevuah was from, the level of Netzach. In the B'chinas Netzach V'Hoid and Levar Megufah, the level of Netzach V'Hoid are what's called outside of the trunk, just like physically by a person. The legs and the arms are called extremities, they're outside of the body, if you will. The trunk is the body itself, from the shoulders down to the legs. But Netzach V'Hoid is Trein Yereichin, we say in Paschal Yom. This is external to the body. So you would think that the level of Nevuah, being only a ray, is all that it is. There's no essence to it. So the Rebbe says in line 5, it is not only a ray, it is the very essence of the light itself. Instead of being something that is only ancillary and auxiliary. Now, if you remember, we said there's two issues. One issue is the quality, what comes down from above. And we said initially it's a ray, but now we say it's the essence of it. And another thing is about being mislabish or not being mislabish. So that if the Navi is only ready and channeling the Nevuah, but the Nevuah does not become enclosed in him. So that is also going to challenge. Line 7, in addition to this. It's not in such a manner that the Navi is only ready and able to accept the Nevuah, but in truth he is actually a vessel for the Nevuah. Not like we were saying before, that the Navi is not like a Keli, is only Mukhshar. Like it's written in Shari Kedusha of the student of the Arizal of Chaim Vital, that the Navi comes down to the revelation of the Nevuah, that becomes engraved in his mind. That you see already the idea that it becomes joined with him. It's not just that he's channeling it. Through making unions in the spheres above. We know different things causes unions in the spheres above, and that's what the Navi did to be able to receive the Nevuah from above. The Nevuah was engraved in the thought and in the vessels of his intellect of the Navi, in such a manner that becomes enclosed and becomes joined with him. And how come, why does that happen? Because the mind of the Navi is a vessel for the revelation of the Nevuah. And just like it's that way in Nevuah, which is originally our original question, so too it's in the Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash is not just a place that's ready for the revelation of godliness, but rather it's a home for his essence. Like it's obvious and clear from the expression of the pasuk that we quoted before, that Shlomo HaMelech said, behold, the heavens and the heavens of heavens will not contain you. Only this home, also the levels that are not revealed in the heavens. That's what we said before. Shemaim goes in the world of Atzilus. The heavens of the heavens, that's on top of the heavens. That's the infinite worlds that are higher than Atzilus. It says all of those, they are all becoming revealed in this home. Obviously, what are we talking about? We're not talking about a ray. Because a ray, that's the worlds that are higher than Atzilus, or the worlds of Atzilus. It's not just a ray, but it's Hashem's essence, the level that's higher even than the worlds, the Ein Sof worlds higher than Atzilus. This itself is in the word, is in the manner that says Yichalkelucha. Yichalkelucha is from the word vessel, that it contains you. That it's a vessel for the drawing down of Hashem's essence. Being that that's the case, so now we're going to go back to our original question. We're left with our initial question that we asked before. How is it possible? How is it possible? How is it possible that in the Beis HaMikdash Hashem's very essence should reside over there? And like Shlomo himself wondered, Shlomo HaMelech wondered, said, the heavens and the heavens of heavens cannot contain you. How can this house contain you? This means the Kivim Shatzmusi is Baruch Hu Ablik V'Lam Miti, since Hashem's essence is the true infinite. How is it possible that the Beis HaMikdash, which is bounded and limited, will be a vessel and a home to the level that's unbounded and has no constriction, whatsoever, which is essentially the question that he asked earlier, but he tried to answer it with the whole explanation that it's like a navi, it's not really a vessel, but we said that answer doesn't work. So therefore, we remain with the original question: how is it possible that the Eibishter should have a home in that? And we also explained before, a home is the entire being, the Chetzonius, the Pnimius, the essence, all come down the home. How can that be that the home to the Eibishter should be in the Beis HaMikdash? Top of the 7th page in printouts, Yud Aleph Ois Dalet. Acho Inyan, but the idea behind this is the Hinei Klolos Inyan Hagvul, the general idea of boundaries and limitations, who Inyan Zman U'Mokim, is time and place. So now he's going to analyze the idea of place according to Kabbalah and Chassidus. Inyan HaMokim Metzinu, concerning the word Mokim, we find Shakadosh Baruch Hu Nikra Mokim. Hashem is called Mokim. We say this in the Haggadah, Baruch HaMokim Baruch Hu. So we find this very interesting expression. We call Hashem Mokim, which is in a way very strange. We just now started saying that Zman and Mokim, that is the definitions of Gvul. Gvul is Zman and Mokim. But we find that the Eibishter is called Mokim K'mayim, but Rabbi Sein Rizal, like the statement of the Chazal, Shehu Mekoyim Shaloylam, that Hashem, He is the place of the world, Ve'ein Oilam Mekoyim, the world is not His place. Everything else exists and lives in the world. But as far as Hashem is concerned, the world is in Him. Medrash Rabbah Pirshu Masha Kosov, Hine Mokim Iti, and the Medrash Rabbah says a similar idea about what it says in Parshas Kisisa. It says, "Behold, the place is with me." What's it mean, with me? Whenever you say iti, s means something that is ancillary, secondary. It is something that is auxiliary to the thing. This and that. S indicates that and that ancillary thing. So when it says Hine Mokim Iti, Hashem is saying that Mokim is only with me. It is tafel to me. Asari Tfeila Li, the Medrash says, my place is auxiliary and secondary to me. Ve'ein ani tafel asari, and I am not secondary to and auxiliary to my place, not like a human being that we are defined or we are limited or we are located in the place. So the Rebbe asks a very simple question, especially on this Medrash. But tzarich laham, we need to understand what's the novelty, what's the uniqueness that the Medrash is trying to say, an amazing novel idea that my place is secondary to me and I'm not secondary to my place. There's an obvious thing that Hashem is not ancillary to anything. Do you need to say such a thing? Do you need to tell us that the place is secondary to Hashem? So now the Maimer is going to go into a very fine definition according to Jewish philosophers, Chakira, and according to Kabbalah. What is the definition of place? What exactly is Mokim? So it says in the second paragraph, line 11, Yuvim Bahagdim Pirish Inyan HaMokim. This will be understood by first prefacing the explanation of the definition. What is the idea of place? There is two explanations in it. The Ikar HaChidush, and the main novelty, that to say that the place is batel to Hashem, is according to the second explanation of Mokim, Kilakamon, as we will explain further on. In the Sefer Ikrim, there's two opinions what Mokim is. Yesh Oimrim, there are those that say She'inyan HaMokim U'mashe Soivev U'makif Es Adover. Mokim is that which encircles and encompasses, surrounds the thing. That is what Mokim is. Whatever surrounds an item, that's called a Mokim. Avol Bal HaIkrim Atzmi Soiver, but the Bal HaIkrim himself, the author of the Sefer HaIkrim himself, holds She'inyan HaMakim Hu HaReikes VaCholol Sheboi Nimtza HaDavar. The Makim is the actual emptiness and the space that is the matter is occupying. Just perhaps to give a simple example, you could look at, we're located in a room. So you could say the contours of the room, the walls, and the definitions of the room, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, that is the makim. That's what's surrounding me. Or the actual space, the actual area, the actual, let's say, air that I've displaced when I take up place in the room, that area, that is my makim. So he says, line 18, and these two opinions, are also explained in Kabbalah. Sefer Emek HaMelech Mevur, and then the Kabbalah Sefer called Emek HaMelech, it's explained. She'inyan HaMakim Hu HaOyre Ein Sof HaSoivev UMakif Es Klolos Seder Ishtalshlos Shezeu HaIgel HaGodol. That what is Makim? Makim is the infinite light of Hashem that encircles and surrounds the entire chain order of descent, all the worlds, spiritual, physical, and that's known as the Great Circle, because there was once the Ohr Sof filled everything, but after there was the Tzimtzum Harishon, so now the Ohr Sof, metaphorically speaking, moved to the sides to allow us place to exist, to allow the worlds to exist. So that Ohr Sof that moved to the sides, that's called the Great Circle, that is Makim, according to the understanding of the Emek HaMelech. But line 22, and in the Sefer L'Kutei Torah, not the Alter Rebbe's L'Kutei Torah, but the Arizal Sefer, also called L'Kutei Torah, it's explained, Makim is the space in which the worlds find themselves in. Meaning, like we said before, since there was a Tzimtzum Harishon, now the Tzimtzum Harishon allowed for an empty space. That empty space that the worlds exist in, that is Makim. In general, these two definitions of Makim being the Ohr Sof that surrounds the empty space, or the empty space itself in which the worlds exist. So that is Shneim Shnei Inyanim, the Soiv Kol Alma Memaleh Kol Alma. It's the two ideas of Soiv and Memaleh. Sha'igel HaGod LaMakiv is close, say there is Tal Shlos Inyan Soiv Kol Alma. The great circle that surrounds the entire chain order of descent of the worlds, that is Soiv Kol Alma. On the empty space, that's the level that fills the worlds. That's the potential for the worlds, etc. So now, going back to the question that we asked about what type of chiddush is it to say that my place is tafel to me. So he says in line 28, V'ikra chiddush da'asari tfeilali, the main chiddush, that my place is something that's secondary to me. Ulefia pirish hasheni is according to the second explanation. Shemakim hu inim memaleh kol alma. Makim is the idea of memaleh kol alma. Mefarish Rabbeinu Hazak in Bala Geula, like the Alter Rebbe, who's this is a Maimer Futas Kislev. So it's the day of his Geula, like the Alter Rebbe explains that what Makim is going on memaleh kol alma. So why is that the big chiddush? So the Rebbe is going to explain. Dehine, bechinas memaleh kol alma top yud base. The level of memaleh kol alma hu oir modud umugbal, is a measured and bounded light. K'maymer Rabbi Seinu Zal, like the Chazal state, man neshama memaleh saguf, kach kodesh baruch hu memaleh soil. Just like the neshama fills the body, so too the Hashem fills the worlds. And how does that? What's the idea behind this message and mashal? The kishem shan neshama ein ba'is chalkas mitzadat, just like the neshama on its own, before it has any connection with the body. There's no divisions. Once enclosed in the body, then becomes divided according to the limbs and organs. The power of sight is enclosed in the eye. And the power of hearing in the ear. And similar to this in all the 613 soul powers. This specifically happens when the neshama becomes enclosed in the body. But neshama on its own has no divisions, has no all these different types of separations, like it's explained in Tanya chapter 51. So too it's above in godliness that we said that just like the neshama fills the body, so too Hashem fills the world. That these two distinctions are to be found. That godliness himself, the Soviv Kalam, the Eibishter himself does not have divisions. But when he comes to becoming clothed in the worlds and the created beings, then it comes about in the way of existence and divisions. That's the idea of the light of a Malkalam. When we're dealing about Memalakalam and concerning this, it says, Asari Tfeilali. My place is secondary, ancillary to me. Shagam, also the place of existence and division. In truth, it's completely nullified. One would think that it doesn't have the same type of bittul like Soviv. The main chiddush in this is in the light of a Malkalam more so than the light of Soviv Kalam. Similar to what it's explained concerning Shema Yisrael. Seemingly, you should have said Hashem Yachid. Instead of concluding with the word Echad, you should have said Yachid, meaning the only one. It shows more on the idea of Hashem being the only one and the most united one, the most single one. The word Echad can also be used in a sense of counting. Echad, if it says Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, seemingly the meaning is trying to tell you that there's no other God. You remember, like we learned also in a previous mimer, we said She'en kamayu ba'olam. But in truth, the word echad does allow for one to think that there could be others. There could be echad used in counting numerous things. Like for example, in the 6 days of creation, it says one day, afterwards there's also day 2, day 3, and so on. So we see echad, the word echad does not exclude the possibility for others. So Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad is not as powerful as saying Yachid, Mashenkin Yachid u'ba'ofen she'en sheni, as opposed to Yachid, it's in such a way that there's no other, there's no second one. As bincha yichidcha, like for example, when Avraham Avinu was told to take your son, your only one. The only one means shaloi shayich loimer b'zeh sheni. When you have yichidcha, that means to say that there's no second one. Yet, despite the fact that Yachid would have been a more powerful statement than Echad in Shema, va'afal became Nemar Havaya Echad. Still in all, it says Havaya Echad and not Havaya Yachid. But the idea behind this is, why does it use the word Havaya Echad instead of Havaya Yachid? Shezeu Ikar HaChiddush, because that is the main Chiddush. Even in a place where there is the existence of the world. Shiva v'rekim v'aretz, there's the 7 heavens and earth. Shezeu Ches, that's the letter Ches of Echad, which is 7 plus 1 is 8, the 7 heavens and the earth. V'dalid, and the Dalid of Echad comes to hint that Arbaruch So'ilam, the 4 sides of the world. Hinegam him betelim la'alufish aloilam, also they are nullified and sublimated to the Aleph, Alufay, the master of the world. So therefore, In a similar vein, just like we say Hashem Echad instead of Hashem Yachid, because we want to say how bottled the world is, even though it came into existence, it's still bottled Hashem. This is also the novelty of my place is nullified to me or bottled to me. Even the idea of place in this case, we're talking about Mamalik Olam, where there's already divisions and there's already existence and so on, is completely nullified. So the Rebbe goes on further, line 7, more specifically, Yeshna Inyan HaBitla Makim, there's the idea of the nullification of place, Hein b'makim gashim kipshutim, both in a physical place, v'hein b'makim ruchni, and also in a spiritual place. What is the idea of spiritual place? Place is made up by 6 sides, 4 directions, north, east, west, and south, and then there's top and bottom. So just like there's the 6 sides, or 6 edges, like it's sometimes called, in the physical, so too there's the spiritual source of it. There's the 6 spiritual sides or ends or edges, which is sheish midas. These are the 6 emotional attributes: chesed, gvura, teferes, netzach, yisoid. Shehein shoyrish u'moker hamakim hagash milamata. These are the root and the source of the physical place down here below. Like it says in the pasuk, Sheishes Yom Masa Hashem Goymer. It says 6 days Hashem made. V'loik siv b'sheishes. It doesn't say in 6 days Hashem made the heavens and the earth, which means that there are 6 days that make the creation. What are 6 days? Days shows on revelation. So the 6 revelations, the 6 midas created the heavens and the earth. The koi al sheish midas al yoyin shemehem nivru shemayim v'aretz. It's referring to the 6 supernal attributes that from them was created the heavens and the earth. V'gam b'bchina zu. Also in this level, yeshna inyan asari tfeila li. There's the idea of my place is nullified to me, not just the physical earth place, but also the place, meaning the spheres of Atzilus, or like it says in the pasuk. We say this every morning at davening. L'cha havaya hagdula v'agvura v'goymer. To you, meaning bottled to you, nullified to you, sublimated to you, is the level of Gedula, with Chesed, and Gvura, Neitzach, V'ahoid, and then Kichel Bashmaim V'aretz, we know is talking about the sphere of Yisoid. All of them is to you. Sheshishuk Tzavas Al Yoyin Shem Sheish Midas, the 6 supernal edges, the 6 sides. This goes on the 6 emotional attributes. Ein Tfeilim U'B'Teilim L'cha. They are nullified and sublimated to you. And this is the idea of the makim iti, the idea that asari is tfeil l'cha, that even the level which seems to be something distinct and separate, which seems to be divided, which seems to be already an extension of godliness, is completely bottled to Hashem.